Namaskar, good morning, Assalamu alaikum, good day, Wanakkam to all my friends around the world. This is your Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India on this day of September 4, 2020, Friday. In connection with talks related to engineering, its organization, engineering subjects, engineering work knowledge, soil related issues, and various others, site related and non related, design related and knowledge, all those issues in brief as well as in details. In every talk, I do something and something like that so that it augments knowledge of freshers and those in field, because I am very concerned, and like you must be very concerned regarding quality of work, standards of work that are not being raised, and people are not very serious about issue of quality, production in construction and other engineering. That's really unfortunate to deal with. It's now engineering is nothing new in this country. Now you cannot say it's new. We got independence many years back, more than around 8 decades, and now still engineering is developing very fast all over the world, and we are to develop in that very well in designs or in research or in construction. But on site, a question arises: on site, are we fit for that, or we are just imaginary people? We imagine that everything is fine or not fine. That's what we think. And before that, just brief on current issues. That's what we are facing with all over the world, and that issue is COVID-19 and many other issues related to national and international development of this country and other countries as well. It's easy to say something. Commitment is very difficult. And if you cannot commit, well, I think commitment and performance, commitment and performance are very related issues. Very related issues in a sense that you have to do something on that. And this is Delhi, as I said, Delhi file, COVID, and whether it's God's act or it's something else. And then engineering management and system changes and organization and challenges human thinking, and only resort, we can say, then general concrete specifications, total system, and quality structured soil engineering report FIDIC 2017. And like that, in every talk, generally for a couple of weeks, I have been doing on this, and I'll change this according to moment of time. But these are still so big contents in this. It may take many more weeks, I am sure, because quality cannot be understood so early. It cannot be understood by everybody. Quality, this is not quality assurance I'm talking total quality. Assurance is something else. Assurance doesn't mean work done. Work done is important. How you practically produce something, that's more important, rather than talking theoretically. Politically we talk and everybody talks. That's not that important. As practically we should be. And practically, in my country, in this country, Bharat, it's not happening actually as it should happen. It's not happening that way. No, I don't know reason for that. Or something is really not done entirely professionally. This COVID-19 is remarkably doing very well. I can say if it's God sent or it's I can't comment on that, but it's performing very well in its cadre. I'm not saying It's performing very well for humanity. For humanity, it's acting as, you can say, you may say that it's acting as dangerous to humanity, but for its own, for an own objective, it's doing very well. That's I can say. 80 83,000, more than 83,000 infections day before yesterday, on 2nd, on September 2nd, 2020, and we have crossed 3.8 million, and today it must be around 39 million or more. And this means we have already crossed or on the same line as Brazil is. We are, you can say now, number two, where number one is USA, and we are number two. And keeping an average, number two means USA is about 6 million, and if you keep this unit, this progress of say 80,000 means around 2 million we get 1 month, in 1 month 2 million. So we have already 3.8. So it's no question of just after 1 month we shall find that we compete with USA. Now we are competing with Brazil. It's, of course, I laugh because there is no way out. If I weep, I shall not get anything. Better laugh and face problem, that's all. There is no other way. If I am serious in this issue, I won't get anything. So why not to laugh on this issue? I think that's a better way to understand, because public is not going to change, and I don't know, something wrong in mind of people all over world, particularly in Bharat also. Means despite, if you ask someone why don't you wear mask, yesterday I was on campus, I asked young boy, means where is his mask? He was silent, means they don't even answer your question. If you ask them, means they don't care about this, why mask is not worn. I don't understand reason behind that. It's now ridiculous. You don't want to wear mask. I don't know reason for that, really. It is as surprising. It's for protection. So you don't want your protection as well as you don't want protection of others. Really, it's very, very surprising. Why it's like that? Means it's very, very surprising, I can say. Why I should think of that, but it's happening. People are not very, very serious about this, and some majority of people think corona is nothing. I just got a news from UK that one MP's husband says, "Oh, this is mental. This is mental. Like you can say, it's only in mind that you have COVID." Very nice. You're right, Mr. Husband of MP, that this is in the mind, and I think it is in your mind. That's what I understand. If nothing more than that, it is in mind, and that's why it has broken your mind, and you are saying that this is nowhere else but in mind. So it is in mind, baby. Congratulations that you have that, and you studied that one so soon. Of course, this is in mind, and it's working in your mind as well. So handle it properly, otherwise you will become sick. Means such news sometimes make you laugh, and you should laugh, because I have understood now there is no meaning in fighting with people, because you can't teach everybody. Everybody is mental, I may say. Majority of people are sick, mentally sick, and there is a understanding difference. Means if you go to village, they would say, "Oh, this is city's disease, this is urban disease, this is not rural disease." It's that kind of philosophy that has, I don't know, this is who spreads such rumors. There is some element. They have no objective. They just spread rumors like this. Oh, this is, don't worry, this is nothing. Oh, there is no solution to deception. There is no solution to delusion or illusion. So for some this is delusion or illusion, and for some this is something very serious. So every types of people we have in world. I thought we have only stupid, but I think whole world is stupid now. It may be British or UK, or it may be in America, or it may be, you may say, many other countries where every day we get news about fighting with each other. One France, in France we had that news, I think a few weeks back, that one bus driver, he is during the fighting, and he lost his life because of mask. So this seriousness also happens. Well, it's only wearing a mask, it's not a big deal. Even if suppose there is no COVID, on sites when we wear masks because of you can protect your nose from being infected by dust. People do not understand this is pollution also. So just to protect yourself from pollution, you can use mask. There's nothing new in that. But now it's a kind of egoistic behavior. Oh no, there's nothing. Okay, COVID is not there, it's not here, but pollution is there. So if you use, you can at least save your nose from being polluted. You can save your eyes from your, if you use glasses. Means you should have some sense. If you say no, means it's like illiteracy in society as far as COVID is concerned. If your cases are around 4 million, it may be 5 million, next month 6 million, 7 million, and you would go on increasing that. Means not a month, I think it's about 22 million a month. So we have to be really very serious about this. Means what we can say that we have to be very serious. In fact, means this is not small issue I'm talking. This is very serious issue. Means you don't want to keep yourself safe, but you don't have right to subject other person to danger, to impact of this. Means I told one young boy yesterday, who are you to impact someone else? They don't answer, they only listen. And there were not only one person, there were many people who were there. Who were there means you cannot, about more than 50% people, I think more than 50-60% people do not use masks. And they are subjecting themselves to problem as well as they subjecting others to, and that's very bad behavior, I can say. You wear clothes and you wear pants, and so why do you wear pants and shirts? Why don't you can say wear pants and shirts? Then why do you wear your ladies suits and saris? Don't wear them at all, and think of that you are dealing with public. You have to be very serious about that. This is very serious business, and I don't want to means people are calling for nothing, means they are wasting my time by disturbing me. Please don't disturb me. So I should say that it's not very big world, just 8 billion people, and out of 8 billion, 4 billion are now useless people, I can say. 4 billion are useless people, and we should be very much sure about them. We have to teach them, they should learn, but they are dead minds, I can say. Minds are dead, or COVID has, in fact, I think, rather than this infection, COVID is mentally infected people. That's what I think. That may not be, it may not suit scientists, but it is a fact that before starting infection, it's already infected minds by psychology. Psychology has been created that don't worry about me, I am okay, just enjoy life. So about those minds which cannot think themselves, I'm not talking of those minds which are fertile and very active and which use all day, they use their minds, it won't affect them, but those who people are mentally not very fast or not very efficient, it has infected those minds. Such minds are around 80 to 90% all over the world. Those who just live for sake of living and eat for sake of living, such minds were not serious. Those minds, I think, have been infected by this, and they are coming in way of handling this COVID. So COVID is very smart in that way. If you consider, it's very smart force that has come to earth, and I should say that wonderful it is if you take on its side of it, and if you talk on behalf of COVID, I can say it's wonderfully working. But if you take other party, then it's if other party is not wonderfully accepting this, means other party is swayed by its fact, it's bad. That is true, means scientists have not, it is in fact scientists also, I think, it's in fact the minds of scientists too. scientists and doctors and those who are intellectuals, if they have not understood this procedure of COVID in 9 months or 10 months, they shall never understand this. Because you don't need that much period just to understand some philosophy or some theory or how it happened. Okay, you don't know its origin, but you understand how it's working. That also you do not understand till now. It's procedure just SARS is no SARS, so no more SARS. We used to say it is just this syndrome, means it's not simply respiratory syndrome issue, severe acute respiratory syndrome issue. It's now more than that. Well, I think it affects the heart as well as mind. It affects every parts of body. And I hear so many cases that person vomited and he got heart attack and died immediately. Well, I think it's work of COVID, but there's no COVID certification because nobody would say that he died because of COVID. But fact is that it impacts heart, and our one of past president died because of lungs issue with this. So I can say we should be very careful and not make fun of ourselves. And I can say that there's nothing to say now. Statistics is no issue because it's moving every day very fast. There was one time when we were just around 500 in March, I think March last week, and now it's just the first week of September and we are around 4 million. This means there is something means we could not understand, and I'm not blaming anyone for this because there is no meaning to blame, though everybody is to blame for this. I can first blameable is government and then other blameable public itself. So public is more blameable because government sleeps and government ignores COVID, they ignore everything. They are just interested in their own work, in our own future. Though there is no future for them, but everybody thinks it's still future. Everybody is behind economy, and economy is not going to solve this problem. But if life exists, only economy is meaningful. And if life doesn't exist, economy is not meaningful. And that's very true. So even reinfection and return back of COVID is also a possibility. You don't think that somebody is recovered is all false statement. Discharge is okay, but recovery is not okay. You are discharged from this disease after 14 days, 21 days, but this doesn't mean that you are free of that. And those who are not infected doesn't mean they are free of that. Whatever time you can be infected, that's why you think that you have to take care. That's only one solution. And you have to take hot water, boiled water immediately. Hard now, it's now very hot. September has come. It's little change in weather, 27 degrees just now I'm talking to you. Yes, humidity is of course high. That's the problem. That's favorable condition, favorable environment to low temperature and humidity for survival and for thriving of COVID-19. So as winter comes in, humidity rises and temperature falls, means its performance environment survives, it will infect more and more. So scientifically speaking, actually now danger starts. Till now it was just a trailer, but now real film will start. And I am sure that because of population, 8.5% is coming now. In comparison, number of tests conducted, total tests conducted and total cases we have is 8.5%. Let's say 8%, and we have a population of 130 crore. Let's say 100 crore active people. So if this state continues, the state of corona continues, the status continues, I am certain we will reach 8 crore infections for sure if you compare to current scale. And it may, because they are already, infections are already there, they are not coming out. This means they will infect more and more. So this 8, which is in current scale, can change to double or treble. So you can expect 15 crore, probably, or more than that. But 8 is a must if this is not combated, if people are not serious. And people are not serious, it is that sure. It's joke for people now. So just like English people can say that this is mental concentration, our people say this is delusion. There's nothing as such. There's no further explanation on this. So I come back to my own subjects of engineering and engineering management, or management of engineering, organization, thinking and changes, and you may say everything what you can call in engineering is that, and for me engineering is something additional to that one. quality is more responsible. Quality is more responsible in engineering to work with. Quantity is one thing. So we have quantity, we have quality, we have safety, we have cost, we have time, we have risk factor, and we have program, and we have milestones, and we have returns, and we have stakeholders, and we have charter. So many files do apply onto this discussion. We consider what's problem with engineering. If somebody asks me, I got mail from my institution that advice subjects that should be taken up during webinar. So, well, this is very easy, comfortable question, and you can easily answer, because actually we are not very good in engineering in this country, practically speaking. In every branch of engineering, we are not experts. Expert in a way that experts means quality also. Expert doesn't mean knowledge alone. Your quality must be expert. Your safety must be expert. Your theory must be expert. Your in totality, you can say, performance must be expert. And performance means speak. It speaks. It's a kind of total judgment you get in through works, activities of engineering. What judgment means? Judgment is production. Judgment is that what people are getting, that is order for them. If it gets everything in order, your material, your product must be excellent one. If not excellent, performance one. It should be quality, value added. That's very important. We talk of value addition all the time, value addition, but we do not understand ABC of value addition, because we do not understand engineering and its quality requirement or quality criteria. And if you do not give quality, there is no question of saying that we give value addition. Engineering is very deep subject, as well as very clear subject, as well as it is, you can say, intelligent subject. Also, it's subject oriented, and its results come based on resources. It's not exclusive in one hand. It's not individual oriented subject. A individual can learn, but question is not learning alone. Question is application based learning, job oriented learning. That learning is more important, and that learning means you have to learn pre that's theory and practicals and tutorials, and then you can really apply that in field, or you can say practically, you say do it. So we say, I used to say, think and do it. Think applies this verb think, or whatever you may say out of parts of speech. Thinking is root of engineering. Just like thinking is root of science, and thinking is root of brain. Thinking is root of new. You can say new, whatever I should say, new start. Thinking is gift God, gift of God, and God gives you this free of cost. And when you think, you don't realize this fact, but you think, oh, I got this. Thinking is support of God, you can say. Just like research is support of God, support from God. And when I think, it doesn't mean that I think. That's my foolishness if I say it's my thinking. It's not my thinking. Yes, I may say in relative word, because I am thinking, this is my authorship. That way is okay. But that's relative authorship. I am not thinking anything. It's God that is thinking through me, through my body. This God tells me, you think like this or you do like that. So I do. It means common sense. When you say common sense, actually common sense is like, it's the work of God. Sometimes the theory, your subjects don't give you answer, but some common sense gives answers. Just like we say natural justice. Natural justice is not defined, but it works very well. It works in a way nothing else can work. And I could say that work means when you work, you feel better, you feel reserved, you feel busy, you don't waste your time. Engineering is same thing. Wastage of time is against engineering, and use of time is pro-engineering. Use of time means you have to do something related to engineering, and you get answer of that. That's really very important. And if I say those who think are better than those who do not think, because if you do not think, you cannot lead others. And minimum requirement of engineering performance is that you have to lead others, or you have to lead yourself if you cannot lead others, because leading self is also very important. That's called self-initiator, self-leader. When you lead yourself, automatically your work shall import others. There's no way in that. It doesn't happen. You lead yourself when you augment your actions as to so much that you cannot handle them. Certainly others have to be associated with you, and that's what I say, automatically others come in. So engineering is very wide, means it's no limits. I will be very frank that if we say if there is no limit to something, and that's called engineering. Engineering profession has no limit. Profession, I am saying, this is not profession of just charging fees. It's profession of development. It's profession of enlargement. We have to enlarge ourselves. That is what engineering. I do not confine engineering just to subjects that are included in syllabus of engineering. That is just the limited one, minimum one. There's expansion of that, and that expansion has no limit. If you go on moving and moving and moving, just like in civil engineering, there's no limit. There is no set plan that you have to do. Say there are more options, many suppositions. You can do one thing in 10 times, 10 ways, and just like the contractor does how to do something, he finds 10 methods, the engineer finds 2 methods, like that. Depends upon your experiences how you work in engineering. Work in engineering very, very important. Means if you don't work in engineering, you can't get anything what it is. So engineering is you get system of working. It's not simple what degree you have. It means how you perform. I have seen people that degrees are okay, that's required, degrees are fine. But even after degree, if you say you are a professor, and you are a professor means you are teaching students, you teach students means yes, you are bound by syllabus, I understand. But it's your duty also forget syllabus sometimes. You have to interact with your students to let them understand what engineering is. Engineering is not simply learning theory of structure or designs or constructions or this and that or surveying. It's much more than that. Means you have to mold that student to that level where that student can lead, but that still is unable to lead because job hunting is not final destiny. Job hunting is a part of your life, but job doing is important. That's very important. And engineering means do not differentiate between office engineering or design engineering or survey engineering or estimation engineering or bid engineering to site engineering. Site engineering is total engineering, you can say. When site engineers, I think they are considered low profile, but that's misconcept. They are, front line runners, and they know what is right, what is wrong. In fact, they find problems, they find difficulties. They have to face all circumstances, all weathers. They have to digest every condition. They have to deal with all types of people, from most intellectuals to working class people. Those people who work a whole day in sun, in weather, and you can't expect them to be very brilliant. Yet they are brilliant to do their jobs. They know their activities. That's okay. Up to that will fine. You can't. So you have to deal with all sections of people. That's capacity you should have. And if you can't deal this, you can't lead. Otherwise, in that case, you have to first self introspect. Means forget what you learn. Think of what you can do, how you can move, how you can miss, what degree of interest to take into your. Or if you have feelings, I am having this much degree, I don't want to work on site, I must be given design work, or I must be given that work. That kind of, that's a negative, you can say negative approach you get in, and that negative approach doesn't help you. Negative approach is very important as far as development is concerned. You have to negative in work, means I have to do this work and I have to do additional work also. In this means I negative all this information. I am getting more information on this, or I am getting more information to that designer who did it. So I advise him, please do it like this. Also consider that way. Means that negative something else. That negative based on positive. Means you are finding out something negative from that something is positive, is incomplete, or which doesn't suit your requirement, and you think you can do better than that. Fine, you can do that. Means it's just like tenders are issued and they say, okay, this is minimum requirement of employer, and if you want to have a desire that you want an alternative, you can give an alternative provided original is submitted. Means there is no ban to alternative. You can do alternative 10, but original must be there so that they can know what is in mind and what way it is better than public. That's called value work. You are working, but you are also adding value to I can do it this way, that's better in this sense, or that's in that sense, or I can reduce your budget, or I can do better quality, I can reduce your time, or you can say there can be whatever you say, it can be possible, it's a better quality than this. So It's better life cycle for this. Life cycle means when it works and you maintain this, means it's better in that case, cheap in that case. Sometimes maintenance is very high, and sometimes in certain methods and the design maintenance is very, very low. So that also cost means if suppose your project has to work for 30 years, in 30 years you reduce maintenance cost, that's also kind of cost impact. And this you have to compare risk factors also on that, means what risks are involved, and that's what our thinking base means. You have a thorough, you must have thorough knowledge of activities. Thorough knowledge of activity comes only when you work in field and experience that one. You may be a design engineer, but you should have knowledge of work at site. You should know what problems, what difficulties you have to face with those hands-on job, those people who are not like you, but they work in field and they know field work better than you. You are only in designs or planning, you don't know everything. Yes, you may get information from others and you do design work. Sometimes something is available in market, something is not available in market. So you should have the information, because only structural design is not design, there are architectural designs, there are other designs, and your structural design is related to other designs. You have to coordinate also, and coordination is missing, I am sure, because exclusive disciplinary work is not important these days. You have to talk to others, you have to interact with others, get information, extract them, and then say, okay, what I'm going to do is right or no. Suppose during execution time, your beams are having many openings, but in your mind it's not opening, it's not allowed. So you may have to widen beams or draw or something you have to do, so that work doesn't clash your AC, HVAC doesn't clash electrical doesn't clash that one. That's very important point in engineering which you miss all about. And quality is very big issue. We cannot simply just say quality is there because I have done it or work is done. Work is done. There's nothing guaranteed with quality. Work means if you do work on site, you cannot simply say the work has been done. Certainly it's of quality. That assumption is not acceptable. You should prove that this is quality work. That's what engineering. Engineering requires evidence. Means it's not like something means if I do something, I have to justify that one. If I do design, I have to justify my assumptions. I would justify what formula I'm taking. I would justify this right formula. I justify this is that and that result is coming in, and this is viable, this is practical, this is better. Justification is very important in all actions of engineering. Logical justification should be logical, reasonable, coded and everything. It doesn't mean you should stick to everything. You can modify that, you can amend that depending on requirement. Nothing is up. Nothing is permanent as well, nothing is temporary. Your mindset is required, means your concentration is required. Engineering requires concentration. If you miss something, for example, you are doing quantity engineering, you are doing quantification of some many drawings, and if you do not concentrate, and you cannot say I use software automatically do quantification. I don't believe in that. Don't do automatic quality, because machine has some limit. It cannot give you your every answer. So better. It takes some time, yes, of course, but the computer normative. So quantification is root of your, what it tells you, and quantification is only budget. It is only in bid you can prepare based on quantification, and quantification is very important. Just like quality is important, tendering work is very important. You have to understand what is bidding, all that. That's very important part of that. Quantification, you have to use Excel sheet, or you have to some other, or you may have to use timber line. Whatever you have to use, but basics must be there. And software can be learned, but basics is important. And you have to quantify in a way that is practical. It's not simply you have to say this quantity, that quantity should be according to what to be done. That must be in a way that there can be no claims on that, and you show the other party, the contractor or bidder, understands what work he has to do and which time he has to do. It's just a total quantity on this work, that's it. That won't solve problem. You have to analyze properly requirement project. And that's what engineering quantification is. Quantity, it doesn't mean just quantity, only means everything, and every part of that you have to be clear about. Same thing is planning. Means planning is not simply planning of time, it's understanding project, understanding total project. Of course, quantity is the basis of that. So quantity you do directly, or you get through quantity engineer. You have complete details, and you have to do. So you have to ask him, I want quantity in this fashion. This is my program, and I have to apply this program. You chart out quantity according to this. That information must be given to that person, so that that person analyzes properly and quantify in a way you want. So that for planning purposes, it may, it's also for BOQ purposes it should be there. So don't worry about pages of quantity. Don't worry about bills of recommended number of bills. It doesn't matter. The quantity should be right and should be according to your steps or according to your project. And there may be many bills, doesn't matter. as per its sense, because there are many more requirements, because after all this contract you are going to do. Now that the person, the contractor, must have contract with you, employer and contractor must enter a contract, and that contract is not means it is not that holy hostel that you can't change it. You can change that also if required. You can novate, or you can cancel, you can resign contract also in that case, or suspend contract or terminate contract. There can be any application, whatever application according to contract, there's no bar to this thing. Or you go to disputes resolution. So there these bills of quantity, there is specifications, and all these are considered to that. You cannot simply go on one line and say this didn't make me payment. These payments are due to me. You have to justify that you are due to me. They must justify why they don't make payment. All these are there. So documentation, ultimately I should say contract documentation or post-contract documentation are very important. Documentation doesn't mean just one document of contract. That's the contract form you're talking. But contract documents, I'm saying, which is everything, it's a complete tender bids, and tender documents means all documents of conditions, as well as complete details means every detail, specific, complete specifications, special specifications, project specifications, or general specifications, and conditions, general conditions, particular conditions, and then designs and schematic drawings of services, and all those whatever transpires between two parties during contract or before tender, and those agreement time of in executing tender, all those become part of contract. So we have to take in that consideration. Contract doesn't mean just one volume of contract. It means many documents will be there, maybe 10 documents, 5 documents, there may be 2 or 3 volumes of even here those documents of contract, like form and specifications, or like that, and there will be thousands of drawings, hundreds of drawings, and many hundred specifications as well. And also if some other thing requirement is there, some standards are there, some method statements are there, would be in addition to that when you do job. Those are all important. Means maybe our people don't realize this fact, but that is, then program you sign, you agree, that's also a document, contract document. You agreed, both parties agreed for that, so you comply. But it doesn't matter if it's not time of contract, it is a part of contract also, because at that time it was indicative one. But once you agree based on your contract, is now a permanent document. You cannot change that. Yes, you can recover, you can change timings on this, you can do, but both parties have to agree that. So what I am saying is, quantities you cannot change a lump sum. It's not lump sum, you can change quantities also. It depends on what type of contract it is. There are so many types of contracts, but generally I am talking of lump sum fixed price rate contract. And that's very, very important, because quantities are very meaningful there, though it's not that one mandatory issue. You can prepare your own POQ, and the other party can prepare their own POQ. That's for your purpose. And POQ is not valuable because you have signed, you have to do this drawings, you have to do the specifications, you have to do projects according based on documents. That's very important now. But we have many subjects in that. Just like we have to say planning is very big issue, and then you can say quantity engineering very big issue, and also you can say valuation is very big issue, and then you can say safety and environment is very big issue, health and environment, and economics, and also quality system is very quality requirement is very big issue, and quality compliance is very big issue, and you can say that understanding of quality of activities is very big, because tests are required there, reference there. And there are so many more. You can say, you can just come method statements, for example, the right method statements just tell someone how to do. Means before doing work, you should be clear on what work has to do. That's the important point, if people don't know, and they should be communicated to people. It's not that you just keep with you because you have done it. It should be communicated to workers who shall do that, the crew who's going to work for that. They should be known either through foreman or through supervisor who is there, who knows their language. That should be translated to them. You have to do like this, or instruction they give to by foreman or supervisor according to the method statements, whatever agreed. And that's very important exercise. I'm saying, don't go to you decide your own method statement. I will do this way. This is my approach, and that must be done. Then it's not simply for paperwork only you are right method statement. No, and the question of coordination engineering. That's what I say. You have to coordinate all activities according to drawings. You have to coordinate drawings first. You have to coordinate specs also. You have to coordinate this means what's happening on site. I'm not getting this information. This information missing, so you have to demand information. And if this information, it is information available. But there's a conflict in that. You have to resolve that conflict. You have to do everything with how to resolve that. Like some drawing is not available, you demand that. Means there can be a possibility there are no drawings available, so you demand those drawings. It won't be difficult because it is within part of system, it is part of contract that you are demanding that, and that means it doesn't change your contract actually, because everything remains same. And that's the beauty of contract and work on site. And work on site means if work on site is successful, everything is successful. If work on site is not successful, it's disputed one or it's not move, it doesn't move a way it should move and doesn't end, and there's always a dispute. The project doesn't finish, it's disputed project. So that doesn't cause any problem. I have seen many buildings stop because of that, and that's not a way. Means without the judicial authority in every approach, we have to understand ourselves that ultimately it's a contract and it's in favor of both parties to successfully complete that. And it's no way go to court and dispute or go to arbitration, you waste time and you waste anything. It's not necessary to go to arbitration for everything. Means arbitration is something different. Means if there's a minor dispute, doesn't mean you go to arbitration. That's nonsense. But why should there be disputes? Actually, my question is that it's because of your mindset. How can everything is clear, documents are clear, you have to do this work, you know how to do this work, and you will be paid for that, you agree with me. Why you want to create problems then? So my mindset is different. Means there is something wrong with you if you think the arbitration will go there. I'll sue this party. This means your mindset is not, you're not a good person, you're not a good professional contractor, you're not a good professional employer, a thing like that. There is a contract, what's contract actually? Means somebody asks, what's the purpose of contract means? Why do you enter into contract? We enter into contract because we know we should be clear to each other. We should not be, everybody should, all parties, or you can say both parties should be clear what is their job, what's their role, and division of responsibilities should be clear. It should be clear what you have to do and how to do. This is what we say. Matrix, you design the matrix. These are total activities. This is my activity, this is your activity, and this third party activity, someone activity. This is mine, this is, it should be clear. What's this is called complete analysis of responsibility base. What's my responsibility, what's your responsibility can't be decided. Now, on what basis you are calculating your price if you don't decide that? So simple. I'm not favoring anyone. No need of favor, employer or contractor. Why should I favor? You are demanding money, that person is giving money, you are doing job. Only that's the relation, no more relation. Why do you want to make a mountain of a model? If there is a problem, solve problem before or during contract, you solve problem. Because after all, you have to solve problem. Even if you don't solve, somebody else will solve that problem. So ultimately, what happened? Time is wasted. Why do you want to waste time? Time is very important. Cost is very important. Quality is very important. Supports are very important. These are three factors. So many factors support them. That's very important. You must value time. You must value cost. You must value quality. You must value progress. You must value everything. You must see time is to be saved. Quality is to be improved. And cost is to be reduced. That's what is required. Means sometimes what happens with people have different mindset, and that I don't like. Yes, there may be something, sometimes it happens that due to whatever reason project is suspended and you may face losses because of that. So you have every right to claim that loss. I'm not saying don't do that. That's your life. Employer has also done that way. Employer is promoting something. Employer, we shall do something with that project after project is completed and hand over. That whatever it is, whatever entity is done, it shall do in market, it shall do in industries, or it shall perform whatever it is to operate. So that the employer losing, if he loses that, there should be a clear cut provision in the contract that in that case this can happen, this shall happen. It may be form of liquidated damage, or it may not be in form of liquidated, in the form of some real loss that you have to prescribe before going through contract. So I'm talking of this due to just because engineering is a question mark these days, and of course there are issues related to this. And for me, very issue is particular in civil engineering, which I am sure about. There are also, if you buy some parts from market, some machine part or some machine, you won't find performance the machine gives, and that's really very worrying statements. You don't get performance from that. That is very important. That's what I mean to say, that engineers are falling in that way. We don't want just seminars for purpose, seminars or webinars, but there should be some constructive work, not just some photo sessions, some PowerPoint presentations and gone. No commitment, no means we do not know what's happening on ground, and we just want to say something without noticing what's observing them, what problem people are facing. We don't ask them and what students think and what professors think and what industrialists think they expect from engineers. We never make survey on that, and that's where we don't know. Actually, we don't know problems. The problem is that we don't know problems. Industries often say your engineers are not suitable. That's right, means they're not suitable. I know. And not only they, also in past it was a state, because but that was different time. People technology was not high, and people were honest also. Not like today that they don't worry. It means okay, I want money or whatever cost it comes. I least bother. That supposition is against ethics. That's against profession. If you want to do, you want to, you can say you have to professionalize engineering or professionalize your life. You have to train yourself. Training is very important. And training doesn't mean go to college or university. No, training, whatever you have, whatever you learn, you further learn, you improve yourself. By whatever is up to you, you go to further degree, or you just experience life, because whatever comes in industry, that comes only from experience, and from upgrade on technology. Nothing comes otherwise. Processes change because of this also, process change. So I should say that engineering is something extraordinary and ordinary both. It's within realm of engineering that you move forward. So engineering is a title in that sense. You are different. As a title, you are different. I say think and do. So it's also a title, different. Quality is not alone. You cannot say that quality is alone. Quality is a part of life. We know very well. Quality is a part of life. Quality is part of life, and that life is very important. And if your life is just like you say, oh, I had nothing in my life, I am living very, very ordinary life. No, you are not living ordinary. It's up to you. You think if you have very good clothes, you are a good, excellent one. And if you think you have a very big car or some, if you think that way, then you don't know what's quality. See, I am engineer because I have a car, you think? I am engineer because I have a house, you think? Or I am engineer because I have some extraordinary. You are engineer because you are working in engineering, that's it. And that's the important point. You go by walking, you go by car, you go by cycle, it's not my problem. There is only facility, means if you work in a company or somewhere, certainly you will have some facilities, means it doesn't mean you are that. Because of saving time, because of your comfort, you should not feel tension, you should not feel stress. According to your status, you are given facility, but doesn't mean that facility indicates what you are. People relate it that way, but it doesn't mean, suppose you are not going anywhere, you are not, just your station is a site where there is no one not to move. Why you need a car in that case? Yes, you need a car for personal use, or you have to go to some meeting, you have to go to some client. For that purpose you need that. You are sleeping even on site sometimes. So it happens. It happens because of control of budget. They say, okay, make a room on site, stay there. Sometimes it happens in desert, or say you can say there is no life, means there's no hotels even. So it depends. It doesn't mean that the status is here because of that. Something, it's not acceptable that I am engineer because of I am Mercedes or BMW. Oh, that's not a point here. That's just a support, and ultimately it tells you, means you have superficial status, means not real status, and that's very, very, I must say, what I should say. So I don't define engineering like that. My engineering is different. In my area of Faridabad yesterday, from 10 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night, there was no power. So this is life. Yeah. My dear friends, when I started my engineering study, you can say in 1971, I joined my college. Small person I joined Polytechnic for passing a diploma. At that time, I did not know what I was admitted to be very frank. I only knew that this is Polytechnic and we will pass some diploma from here. And that time there was not even a position as such, which is now, at that time was Okay, pass diploma and you get some overseer's job or like that it was. Okay, somebody told me I got admitted, studied. I don't know what in 3 years we studied a lot. I still remember these 3 years. When you are in workshop, carpentry workshop, or fitters workshop, or many other workshops and laboratories, once you enter means you have to spend 3 hours, 4 hours a day in that. Drawing class you have to spend many hours, and like that all our classes are say 45 to 1 hour. Theory, applied mechanics or strength of material or something, whatever is there, 3 years. Whatever subject we see, at that time we didn't know what this was. We didn't know what shall we do with these subjects. This happens because student age of 16 years or 17 years or 18 years, you can't anticipate everything about engineering, and you don't know even what is engineering at that time. So it happens. I was not from a family of engineers or family of contractors, so I could know something about what. So I was just very raw student, knowing nothing. But it happened, and even second year, third year, I had many problems also with me. No need of explaining that all means. By chance I passed. That's what you can say. By luck you can say I passed my diploma, and I got some job too. And through transition of master role, I got some job, and this was okay. Means as far as job was related, I got it through policies of government. That was the start, you can say. That was just a start of raw engineering. I didn't know that I was an engineer at that time. People used to say, oh, because the certificate says 3 years civil engineering diploma. It's written engineering there on that, so they think person is an engineer. And I also think I was I am an engineer now. I got diploma, I got this job, junior engineer at that time. Oh, means you started posting yourself. And girls should look at me and people should respect me. And on my briefcase I used to write engineer just to tell people, see what's the sense? That raw sense, innocent sense. People should look at me that I am engineer. Display in public. Because that time I didn't know what designation it was and what was the value of that. But just because I am in that, it's happened, this life. But this doesn't move forever. It's only short term in this type of behavior. In the beginning, only when you are busy everywhere, or you start learning life, you start how people conduct, how contractors conduct, how your seniors conduct. That time what I learned is all useless, and this is a different world. Means here is no value of study. I then recall my one professor used to say that you do all this what I am telling, but the main thing you do is you do what your boss says. So that was last conclusive statement. Yeah, what I am telling you or explaining to you is for purpose of your examination, for purpose of passing. That's all, nothing more than that. So you follow what your boss says. That was concluding end statement. So we laughed on that, all laughed, because that teacher was very laughing. His style was that he never stood in one place, moving around all 1 hour, this corner to that corner, this corner, and teaching and diagrams and all that. Okay, don't worry, just make this diagram. Just make, if I am telling you, don't answer anything, just make diagram, give for marks. Make this sketch, note it down, image of board, note it down, and just write names here, don't write anything else, and get full marks. And he used to do that. Means don't explain anything, don't worry, just this diagram is okay for you. So that was life. It changed later on. I started my job, then I said what to do, no need of further history, I got a job. Somebody started, your job, why don't you marry? Marry itself, a time for marriage. But in my mind, because I have many responsibilities, so marriage was never a point in my mind. Everybody likes that, you got married, settled, you say, okay, but you get me, I'll get you a girl from here, you want this. But I was interested in something else. I was not, after having known atmosphere here, environment here in that jobs, particularly in government jobs and even in private jobs, his environment was not which I thought to be an engineer, means a real engineer, not a billing engineer, not just supervising and running of engineer. Because when you say supervising, it doesn't mean you are just supervised, You don't know how to calculate steel, you don't know how to contractor do themselves. We calculate, yes, but not for that purpose. We calculate purpose of billing or valuation or make payment only, not for purpose of not how to import material, how to buy material, what to think of. Means these contractors are very smart. They used to do that themselves because this is by practice they used to learn. And they are also a contractor, they know mathematics and they know how to, otherwise they can't be contractor. You have to price something, you have to, so you know, must have that knowledge. So these are all there, and they used to do sitting on site, and I used to do according to our requirement. What I mean to say that I saw different, and I disputed with many people there, contractors and our seniors also. So I was not a good staff there. I was not a good personal of engineering. So I kept on transferring from there to there, there to there. But my purpose was different. I didn't like that body. I didn't like that environment. This was not conducive to my requirement. So I thought, let me finish my studies, and I had to study, that's called Section A and Section B of Institution of Engineers India. That's called in general AMI. So I have to do that. That was my desire, because somebody had challenged me that you cannot pass, you are a duffer student. Oh, I say, okay. Duffer means, as a friend, some friends said in a taunting way, you can't do, there is no capacity as such, you just are interested in marriage and this and that. And he was studying, he was studying MIE. He is also mechanical diploma holder. So very, very close to me. I said, okay, fine, I start now. But he said, means it was already, already I think I joined in 74. 4 years passed, I have already lost 3 to 4 years. I didn't start studying. Okay, you are challenging me now. Okay, I see my challenge is different, means I never shout on that. Okay, I know time will tell you, don't worry. So he taunted, oh, you cannot do it, you go and marry and that's your destination. Okay, you say like that, all right, no problem. Now time will tell you when I meet you again. Again means I meet you again in that capacity. We used to meet daily, we were very close, but for that purpose, I started studying, means what's wrong with that? And I started studying, and in first attempt, there were 9 subjects in one part and 8 subjects in another part. And these 2 parts should have been cleared, and there was this gap in between those 2 or you can say like a thesis or like a report, or like some third referee or third engineer is there who supervise you, who guide you how to do. And after submitting that result, that secret result to institution, you could appear in only sections B. So I passed first time. There were 9 subjects, and many such students were there in our body, our development body, who are all colleagues. And they say, why somebody was appearing 1 or 2 or 3. I did not tell anybody what I'm going to do. I just took classes of 6 subjects, and I passed 5. And when I appeared in examination, some met there. Oh, why you? I said, how many are playing? I said, I am bringing 6. Only 6? Why not 2? Oh, I think there was a problem for seat. That's why you're not bringing for 2. That means another joke. But they were surprised when my results came. I passed 5 of 6. It was a surprise to everybody, because they could pass 1 or 2 at a time, they could appear, not more than that. But because I isolated myself from society, I isolated from everything, I concentrated on studies. When I do something, I at that time change my conduct. I stopped going to friends, I stopped going to contractors or wasting time on site. Means I did everything that was in my capacity to conduct myself. And then I spent time at until 2 o'clock. I used to study at night, and because I could in morning around 8 or 9 I had to reach at site. I reached that time. That's not a big issue, because I was supervising. I was not doing execution work. I was not a contract. I was a consultant like. And then I won in one subject. I could not pass. I don't know that was the reason for that. Applied thermal, not some subject which I don't know why I failed. I don't still remember that. But then it was a subject which was not very common to everybody. I selected that, and I could not understand that subject. But no problem. Second time when I appeared in that, I got 80% marks. That maximum marks I got in 80% in that subject. So I was happy, or at least this is not my field, it's a mechanical engineering field, applied thermodynamics, and I'm getting 80% in that. And I studied like that. Then other two, I missed in one go, I passed 5, and other go I passed 3 or 2 like that. And also in section B, I passed, I think, 2 attempts, just I took 2 attempts, because one subject option I had to change. I could not understand that correctly. The pre-test concrete, I was a little confused in that. And then I saw I may not pass this because I'm not concentrating. I was busy in work that time. So I changed that one to, I think, railway engineering or road engineering. Now what I'm telling you is that this is different time. So I was lucky, just passed that in 2 years, 2.5 years. And whenever I show that certificate to someone, say I passed section A in this and section B, 80, section A, 80, you pass in just 2 years that, this is you passed 74, then, oh, you are a very good person, you passed AMI in such a, AMI is, it's like scaring degree. It's not ordinary degree for people. You could pass if you get direct admission. There were so many students at that time who were doing AMI, but they could not move. So what happened in Delhi, there was another university now, it's called Jamia Millia Islamia. That started that time actually, civil engineering also. And all these people who were doing AMI at that time with me, many people were there, 15, 20 in our state, in my body, whom I knew, and they all shifted to Jamia Millia. They paid donations and got admitted. And they passed all. Then once I met someone, I left department that time, I gone with them, I said, अब तो हम भी पढ़े लिखे हो गए. What do you mean by that? I passed B from Jamia Millia. So university is university, and institute of university is not a university, it's an institute. It doesn't care you pass or you fail. It is standards, and you have to pass. The benefit of that is that when you study this, you work, that's most important. Without working, you cannot do that. So you have added advantage on that. It's not that facility is not available now due to some political reason, but it was there, and I am lucky to say that I appeared in five times in papers, 5 or 6 times, 5 times. I had to pay every time 100 rupees for examination, so 500 rupees is that one, and I appeared in, I think, 6-7 months in private classes. That's 80 rupees or 50 rupees monthly. So you can say 10 months, for example, 10 months if I studied, 80 rupees, so it is something around, you may say 1000 additional one. You can say bus coming and going and tea and coffee. So 1000 that, and 500, 1500. And then you can say how many books you would buy. Some books you take from library, or if not library, buy some books maybe. Another, you can say books are not very expensive. Another 500 rupees. So in UK around 22,500 I passed my degree, and then my diploma I did not respect because I got a scholarship from there. So I got 1000 rupees scholarship, so all my expenses were met. So you can say in few thousand rupees I became an engineer. Can you be today? That's the point. So that was because of government policy. I respect that. It doesn't matter which government was there, but that was pro-public policy, pro-poor policy. And remember, only moderate class of students, only normal class of students are admitted. Not all riches were not admitted there. Some riches were also there, like high-profile contractors, because public did not go for engineering very. And in this institute, only those who had lesser marks like me, I had 47 marks in 47% higher secondary school marks, which is not very good marks. But today I am before you, so he doesn't mark. I think marks are sometimes not exclusive reason for your intelligent. You're intelligent or you're not. To measure that, sometimes there are circumstances that do not allow you to study due to family problem, due to some other problem. And those who are riches, who don't have to do anything, then they afford things. What I'm saying is that, so I don't know why I'm talking to you about this. I was talking about engineering, but this happens, It happens sometimes. Same thing I'm saying, it's quality issue. Why I'm talking about quality? Because some people care for quality and some people don't care for quality. And those who don't care for, I don't call them engineers, because they are not interested in engineering, they are just engineers for market value or social value. Means they should realize quality. Quality is engineering, not quantity. Quantity is for commercial purpose, but quality is for technical purpose. If you do not give quality, means you are not doing engineering job. You are just a contractor who doesn't have quality system. Or these contractors also nowadays give quality. Many international companies they are based on it on quality, and sometimes you cannot say that they have engineering mindset. European companies, English companies, and all French companies means. Of course, it's not question of language of English, but technically, say all these petrochemical projects, all these projects are done by them are based on quality. They cannot do otherwise. Quality is very important to them, and they do it. And sometimes they have so much literature with them. You can read that literature, got lot of knowledge. And this is my fortune that I work with such kind of people. Not I did not have much opportunity to work with my country people. That's unfortunate, except one or two locations. I did not work with our people very for long. I worked with these people who may be other country, African or Arabs or English or European. With that, so I have different kind of approach. Means many times I worked with Europeans, and when you used to talk something about English, we are very always we have a weakness, we have pride in English language. You see, so you are why I should know English? What do you mean by that? I am engineer because of English. Means they think it completely an entire different approach. We stress on English because we are born in English and they are not born in English. They are born in their own language. It may be Spanish, it may be French, it may be something else. So no, they don't value means language to that level we value. Because its culture means they are not ruled by British. So it's their culture. So they value just like you go to China, you'll find there's no English culture. Because English did not rule them, only they use. Why should you worry about English? You worry about your language. You are learning, so it's learning in this language or that doesn't mean I agree with that. I don't mind that. But because our system is different, and we did not develop our languages, that's our fault. But even if you develop your language, it takes time in books, and though their culture is very old, means you have no culture yet. You have to develop culture. So we are continuing with English culture. It doesn't mean the English our language, but English our working language. We should not forget. Even today in 2020, it's our working language. You may talk in Hindi, you may talk, and you are talking even in English. Your English is not grammar English or translation or English. It's just working. It's just what I should say, short English. You are using and writing also. You are not to that level as you should be. But I'm not condemning that as well. It's your choice what you want to do, but choice should be choice. It should be exclusive, and English is just a communication medium. Those countries in Arab, they used to hate English. Now they too communicate English because work cannot be moved. You cannot, if you are doing contracts in English and you are having consultants, English consultants, or how can you move with them? After all, your contract is in English, your specifications are English, and where there is no space. For example, somewhere in Saudi, when I work there, I find a problem. Some documents are in English, drawings are in English, but specifications, I mean to say, specifications are generally half in English and half in Arabic. So you have to go to translate documents, and you have to pay 20 I think real for one page, which is unverified. And you want to verified page, there is 80 real. So I mean you have to waste money. So I got many pages translated, and particularly, so we had to pay money. There's no question what you're getting if you're writing in Arabic and what you're not getting, right? The question is your work should be quality. Means we have to maintain one standard, because they want to hire Arabs, they want to hire Egyptian, they want to have Palestine, and they think that these people don't like English. It's not their fault also. Now those are qualifying from Egypt also, they know English. New guys know English. Egypt, from Palestine, they know very good English. I see this Palestine Chronicle. You see that channel, they talk very good English, because they are all new generation. Old generation, so it's our sign, our generation, old generation didn't know English. My father, my grandfather, my mother, they were not good. They don't know anything about English. For example, you go to Tamil Nadu, you go to Bengal, you will find many people, majority know English, but not all. Even in Bengal, you see, it depends on what is your basis, what's your background. So English is not a criteria for that language is not a criteria. But because we have been using that, so no problem. After all, we are not going to lose anything. And because we have studied through English, we have worked through English, and now I'm talking in English because it's used to. Means if I talk in another language, I want my communication to go to everyone throughout the world. It should go to Tamil Nadu, it should go to other states, it's go to here as well as it's go to world other countries. They get also benefit and they can question, they can rise, and this is up to going after all. They watch, some watch, particularly our people don't watch. It's unfortunate, and don't know reason behind that. Means they are. I deal on Facebook with some people. They are rigid thought, means rigid thought people. They do not analyze anything. Hindi, this is not my language, English. This is answer. Because we write English, not because I am English, because for me it is easy, that's it. And Hindi, I have to first write, I go to Google, transliterate, then write there in English and convert it to Hindi, I have to write in English and then I have to put that, so it take 4 times then I have to write again translation into English on that page, because it should be for both, not for Hindi alone. I want my writing should be viewed by everyone, so I translate that to English as well. So I had to take many times, so I did it for many postings. But then I stopped because it's up to you. If you are against English, thank you very much. I am not forcing you to. You stay in your Hindi world. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Nothing. I'm not losing anything. There's a mindset, Some political parties have destroyed minds of youth here. And this was anti-social engineer, I can say this. This is not social inheritance. This is called, destroying minds of youth. You can hate English, but why do you hate your life? You cannot get job without this. Ultimately, you have to do job. You have to make money. If you do not know this, you cannot do anything. You run a tea shop only then forever. You cannot do anything else. If you want to go somewhere, you need English. You cannot deny this fact, because you go overseas. Then how can you work in Hindi? Tell me. So therefore, do not hate anything. Until you are established, until your language is international, people respect it, and this is used in documents, until that time, you have to bear all this, because ultimately you have to stay in profession, you have to stay with world people. Now you find a change in this Europe. There was one time nobody wanted to speak English, or now you can see they are. You see European channels, they talk in English. Or you see many youth, they talk in English. Because it's a transition, it's a social change, it's lifestyle change. It takes time. And maybe in my lifetime I won't find Hindi as a medium of engineering. I don't think so. Because system is not towards that direction. People speak Hindi and write English, or they speak English also. Of course, not to that level it is acceptable, but it's communicative language, and you should understand what guy is telling. Who is asking that grammar is wrong or translation is wrong? Okay, they speak because now it's a transition. The English is also broken language. Tendency is towards the use of English, but actually mindset is in English. That's the only problem. You can speak English, you can write English only when you think in English. If you are thinking in your language, then it's sometimes time consuming and very difficult, because you won't be inclined to learn more and more words and more tenses and more grammar, and you just like to repeat same thing again and again and again, and it works. Nobody minds that too. I don't mind that, as far as I understand what you are saying, and moreover they show PowerPoint presentation, so language is not alone there. You can say documents are working in documents or in English, and you can get that very easy, sketches or photographs or videos or whatever. You can find use out of that, and that's why I say. So my engineering system, my engineering attitude is different. Ultimately, you have to produce something, you have to deliver something, and this planning is like, you can say planning, or you can say quantification, or you can say method statement, or whatever you say. You have to use English language. Currently, there is no other way. You cannot write everything in your language. If you say no, you have to write in Hindi, then I should say yes, you have to write in Tamil as well. you have tried in Telugu as well, you have tried in Bengali as well. So how many languages shall you write for one language? Means you cannot do. So you only way is that somebody rightly said, okay, communication language is English, and we do it, and talking language is different depending on which nationals you are talking, to which workers you are talking. It happens overseas also in Gulf countries when you work. Means suppose there are majority of Nepalians, so Hindi foreman is there, or there are majority of mixed people like this, we can say, from various states. So they use such person who knows all related to that. So because they use world people, and this is the fact, the world people work there. So we have to be very careful about this. Don't argue on this matter. You use whatever you want to use, but communication should be perfect. That engineering material you can say, engineering matter is communicated to them, object is clear, and that's what is required. Otherwise, I say quality has no language. You cannot say the quality, you are not, I just saying you are not giving quality. This is quality is no language. It's work. I am using English or I am using Tamil Nadu, how it relates to quality. It doesn't lead to quality that way. Language does not come in way of quality. So you cannot complain because of language. It's because of your weakness. It's because you have no desire to get quality. It's because your chalta hai attitude. It's because of that you are not giving that, despite you are a well qualified engineer, and you say, what I do, I never worked in my university. Yes, you are right, you never worked in university, but you did not try to learn more and more. You were in job. No, say, there was no one to tell me what to do, what not to do. You are right, there is no one, because there is no. So the question is, now, to what level we have achieved quality, and to what level we should go. Question arises here now, keeping abreast all the circumstances. I should know that we have to reanalyze everything, and we have to set new standards. Simply, it's not easy. It's not simple answer that we just wrote in your codes that there should be. You know what is it? Yeah, I think we assume or we presume or we trust that they should have a good supervisor, concrete supervisor, or concrete engineer. Just it's enough. It's not enough. But they write only this, and they leave remaining to you. So what I'm saying is, experience is important, but more than experience, skill development is important. We have many classes of workers class. They are assets to our projects, and we should realize this fact. They are assets, and those assets are very important. Those assets are very important from every point of view. And if those assets don't work, well, I think, well, there is no answer to that. If my assets don't work, I should feel ashamed of that. Why my assets are not working? They are there to work. They are, we can say, skilled workmen like tradespersons, masons, carpenters, tailors, shuttering carpenters, and others, welders, electricians, foremen, all. Well, I assume that they are experts in their callings, in their vocation, and if they are not, then what I am doing for that? That's my own question is, if they don't do that, then I cannot do work. Really, it's a fact, I cannot do work in that case. I can't be successful. So to be successful, what should I do? That's the point here. If they are not successful, I am not successful, because I am dependent on their working. I cannot work in their place. Yeah, I can work to some limit only, but there are a large volume of work. Those people work, I can only guide them. You have to work like this. And if I don't know how to guide them, so that's my problem. I have to guide, engineer on site, new engineer, fresh engineer, or I have to guide foreman also, and others. But I should know what they should do. And if I don't know what they should do, then it's my fault. I can only when I have experience, or if I don't have experience, I have to devise experience. I have to think of, what is engineering actually? To be very frank, engineering is not defined in books. Books are there, but they are subject books. They are not, common sense books. No book defines engineering. They define structure. They define construction. They define this theory, that theory, this formula, that formula. They derive all that. They can apply many calculus on that, much calculus, or they do empirical arrangement. But where is definition of engineering? What is required on site, on building projects, or on oil projects, or on infrastructure projects? What we should do, what we should not do. Just do not, they tie up themselves to certain government specifications or government documents, which is not adequate. Means government documents is not only document in the world. Yeah, government has some documentation like CPWD. They have their own specifications, their own, I think, analysis of rates and items they take from them for estimation purpose. They have certain documents which I know, 3 or 4 documents they have, analysis of rates or standard specifications and standard rates, and like that they have. And they move on that. So for them, it's for them, for that department. It's not for world. And we have to devise something. You cannot know. See, you cannot know all items in one day until you practice them. And every project doesn't have all items. You cannot on this project learn everything. So whatever you can learn, you have to think for that before learning. If you learn from others, you will not get any, because everybody learns or works in their own way, which is not standard way. Yes, they would give you delivery, but quality may miss, or efficiency may miss, or you can say something may miss. But when you think yourself, because you are an engineer, thinking capacity certificate, what degree certifies you, tell me? What engineering degree says certifies that you are a thinker, not more than that. Certificate of bachelor or masters or doctor in engineering only certifies that you are a thinker, great thinker, master thinker and doctor thinker. You think. It doesn't mean that you can work. You can work if you wish. That is based on thinking. Because whatever you learned, it doesn't mean you have worked that way. You are not necessary. If you are a structural engineer, you have worked only structural engineer. That's not necessary. Or if you are saying you have passed water resources, or you have for something else, rock mechanics, it doesn't mean you will work only that. No, it doesn't mean. If you think of that way, that you have to work only in that, then you are living in fool's paradise. We have how many months shall we be? You have to go somewhere where work is available. Yes, you have a qualification, you have a specialized training, and that you will help you when there's something like that. But by that time, what shall you do? You cannot wait for it to come to you. You have to go to engineering world, and you have to start working in that, because basically you are a basics. You are a bachelor, you are bachelor also, don't forget that. You are a doctor, you are a master, but you are basically bachelor. Means just like MBBS and MD. MBBS, every MD is MBBS also. They may accept later, oh no, I am not ordinary doctor, I am not physician. But you are physician too, because you are MBBS. After that you passed other. What I say is that if you want to improve engineering standards, forget your qualification and think this qualification which will change entire. So our qualifications have failed to change engineering. Our qualifications of all levels have failed to change engineering scenario, engineering presentation, engineering projection in this country. I daily see when I walk or not, go here and there and see what workmanship is there, what quality is there. Really, I hate it. But it's a government job, it's private job, nobody bothers. They are used to see bad work, I think, and they think that's good work. They are so much used to see bad work, they think that is engineering, unfortunately. It means we so much believe in, I can say orthodoxism, just like we do in religion, or we go behind some leader, national leader or state leader, as if that's the only person who can change your luck. Means that type of belief we have, which is not correct. First of all, there is no one leader in anywhere. Don't think political leaders shall help you. You are also a leader. First you help engineering. And believe me, if engineering is helped well, if engineers help change engineering scenario, 70% problems are solved. Because when you work like that, you won't worry about contractors, you won't worry about leaders, and you will demand, no, I want this work that way. So improve of quality is your responsibility. Other responsibilities, don't worry. It's like that. This is a control point, I can say. Quality is a control point in engineering, and quality means not simple quality, total quality. I say total quality. It doesn't mean that what IS 9001 says I have to do that. You are total quality. They just issue guidelines, but not more than they do an issue. They have to follow guidelines only, and those guidelines, your guidelines, you know all those guidelines, not necessary. In a sense, you know that when there's a company, there's an organization, even you are running a company, and you are responsible for that company. It is very simple. No one else. You may employ 1,000, officers, or engineers, but responsibility is yours. You are owning that company. So same thing there. The specialists are for your health. Ultimately, your responsibility. The company is in your name. So if that point you understand that I am an engineer because to improve work of engineering and not because to touch feet of my honor, you will change. You will not worry about honor. And if you do same, other engineer does same, and that on the one you touch my feet, that's no way. You have to touch feet of engineering. You have to touch feet of all those work which are right. So that's only required, nothing much. It's not very critical. I'm telling you, it's very, it's something like you can say mathematical formula or rocket science that I'm asking you. It's not that. It's so simple. It is very, very simple. And if you understand this point, I think we can do a lot we can do. So, well, I say that I'm not going to explain more on that, but now it's about one and a half hour. I try to go to, because subject is soil, and I think I'm not very much sure that people are following me, but whether or not you follow me, you have to follow soil, you have to follow material, you have to follow something. If you don't follow, you will make your losses, you will make your time loss, every loss, and sometimes it is not acceptable. Engineering is your responsibility, not political responsibility, not your honest responsibility as far as engineering work is concerned, because you are there. It's your moral responsibility, your legal responsibility, your personal responsibility that you control quality and quantity both in a total way. You cannot simply say there was too much work, I could not do it that way or this way, or we have short of this or short of that. That is excuse only. If you are short of workers, then you demand workers, or you arrange them whatever way you want. Okay, there are extraordinary circumstances, I understand that. But that's not always, it's not always. That's not always the same thing. It changes from time to time, and we have to see that criteria as well. So I am very concerned. I was not very much concerned when I was not here. I think when I worked overseas for more than 20 years, I never thought of that the quality is so rubbish here, which I'm watching now, finding now. And I mean, since I'm located in Faridabad and I've gone to many sites here also and other states, and I see that everywhere you will find uniformity in that quality. Somewhere it's more, and in private buildings you see private parties spend money, but they don't care also. What they okay, let us go on means. Really, I am very much upset with this. Your own project you don't care, who will care for you then? You are a private party, you are responsible for that project, your project, your money, your housing. You say no problem if there is a downfall in quality. Well, I can't understand this. Means your mindset is such, means you want quality in one kilo milk. You want quality in some vegetable. You want quality in everything, but which is your lifelong material, your lifelong expenses. You do not want quality. Well, I don't understand this criteria. So when this stage comes that people cannot understand this, then engineer has to understand this, and that engineer has to be strict in that. But it's not happening. Well, I think engineers have surrendered indirectly, you can say. We will work in private sector, government sector. They are not very arrogant. They should be arrogant. But you say, what you are talking? Yes, I am talking rightly. Arrogant means mentally arrogant, and to an extent where even if you have to unplace your honor, your client, you have to unplace. It's required, you do it. Okay, maybe you face loss, you may be out of job. Okay, you have to get another job. And but the second person comes, and that also conducts in the same way. Your job change won't apply. How many times that owner change job? Cannot. So, oh, I can't admit. This is engineering. Okay, he's doing engineering just like doctors work, and nobody interferes in their work. Saying, oh, he's a doctor, he knows what medicine has to be prescribed, what injection has to be applied. Only doctors know. So why should I interfere in that? So that approach should be applied in engineering. And then we say, I was on soil yesterday, and this was we're talking of strength of soil, shear strength of soil. So there was, you can say, we said that types of soil tests can be performed in direct shear apparatus, say immediate, quick, and underlined. That's immediate, quick, or undrained tests, and consolidated quick tests, and drained tests. So we talked about this direct shear test. I just remind you what we talked that we. This is direct shear test we talked of that day, and this was this one. Then this was all here. Then we talked of this we're talking of these 3 points of tests. Now it is now we're talking of application of shear force either by increasing force at given rate. You can say application of shear force is talking the preliminary, or I'm just talking to you last paragraph I discussed with you, so that you come to that what I'm talking about. If your application of shear force can be done either by increasing the force at the given rate and measuring resulting displacements by moving parts of container apart in a given rate and measuring resulting force. Units which follow first procedure is called stress control loading units, and those that follow second are called strain control loading. Both types are widely used. Stresses control units are preferable for running shear tests at a very low ratio because an applied load can be kept constant easily for whatever given period of time in this time. In addition, loads can be applied and removed more conveniently. Stress-strain relationship of soils can be better studied by means of strain control types. Strain control test is a little easier to perform since rate of loading is stress control units is usually regulated manually. 3 types of tests can be performed in direct shear apparatus. One is immediate, quick, or undrained test, and other one is consolidated quick test, and third one is drained test. Undrained test, let us see. In undrained test, shear force is applied immediately after normal compression, after normal compressive load has been applied. Increase in value of shear force is done in quick succession, say at about 1 minute interval. Metallic grids are placed instead of porous plates for prevention of drainage of soil. That is what to say. Increase in value of shear force is done in quick compression succession, say at about 1 minute interval, and metallic grids are placed instead of porous plates for prevention of drainage of soil. Entire test is completed in 5 minutes, and this method hydrostatic access for water pressure created by applying normal and shearing loads has no time to to be dissipated because water cannot be squeezed out of you can say out of sill sample, okay, out of sample at such fast rate. Soil sample, sorry, I could not read clearly. Squeezed out of soil sample at such a faster rate as portion of normal load carried by excess pore water pressure is ineffective in resisting shearing stress. Result obtained is not correct. For a saturated soil, it is desired to make rate of shear load sufficiently fast so that appreciable consolidation does not take place, but same time it should not be so fast as to offer additional shear resistance due to viscosity. These two aims are contradictory. For clays, rate of strain should be in region of 0.051 centimeter per minute, when rate of loading is very very fast in actual field conditions such as airfield pavements, roads, etc. That is advisable to make rate of loading approximately equal to that under actual structure, so that some viscous resistance can be included in measured shear strength. In undrained test, consolidation is not allowed. Is that line? Is that? In undrained test, consolidation is not allowed. Hence, it is necessary to measure vertical movements to ensure that consolidation has not taken effect, has not affected, and true undrained test cannot be performed. True undrained test cannot be performed on highly permeable soils such as sand, because consolidations affect immediately after application of load. Consolidated quick test. Consolidated quick test. Consolidated quick test now. Consolidated quick test. In this test, soil is allowed to consolidate under vertical load before any shear load is applied. Drainage is permitted while soil sample completes primary consolidation under normal load. After that, soil sample is sheared exactly in same way as in undrained test at a rate sufficient to prevent further changes in water content. In this type of test, it is necessary to Measure vertical movements during consolidation in order to in order to ascertain whether consolidation is complete or not complete. These tests are used where changes in moisture content are expected to take place due to consolidation, excess of water, etc. before soil is fully loaded. Sudden drawdown in an earthen dam is an example of this type. Now drying test. Sorry. Drying test is a slow test and considerable time consuming, time allowed after application of normal load to permit soil to consolidate before application of shearing force. Again, enough time is allowed to elapse after application of each increment of shearing force. In order to permit adjustments of pore water pressure, hence appreciable excess stress in water is absent at all times during test. This test is more accurate for plastic soils, but it is very time consuming and tedious. Sometimes tests may be required of 1 to 4 weeks may require for its completion, especially in case of clay. Drying test. I repeat, drying test is a slow test. Considerable time is required after application of normal load to permit soil to consolidate it before application of shear force. Again, enough time is allowed to elapse after application of each increment of shear force in order to permit adjustments of pore water pressure. Hence, appreciable excess stresses in water is absent at all time during test. This test is more accurate for plastic soils and it's very time consuming and tedious. Sometimes tests may require 1 to 4 weeks for its completion, especially in case of clay. Test is more accurate for plastic soils, but it is very time consuming and tedious. Sometimes tests may require 1 to 4 weeks for its completion, especially in case of now experimental procedure. We have to go through experiment and then calculation and advantage and disadvantages of this and then more circle, etc. So we have to go to experimentation of this. So let me say in water it's already around quarter to 2 hours. It's hot, I am finding. So temperature is same temperature, but I think it's more temperature. Humidity is high, I think more. First, dimension of shear uh, shear box should be measured. Measure dimension of shear box, and it should be say 6 centimeter square. Normal dimensioning 6 centimeter square, in which 2.5 centi thick, 6 centimeter square, in which 2.5 centimeter thick soil specimen can be tested. So 2.5 6 centimeter square, that is a square box, very small, in which 2.5 centimeter thick soil sample can be tested. Total depth of box is 5 centimeter. So depth is 6 square centimeter by 5 square inch, actually 6 square inch, and 5 centimeter box is depth. Total depth of box is 5 centimeter. And thickness of porous plate should be 6 mm. Both disturbed and undisturbed soil samples can be tested. In case of testing in undisturbed condition, undisturbed soil sample is obtained by cutting ring. It is then pushed out of ring by means of wooden dolly, and then cut in form of 6 centimeter square clay piece. If shear box is circular in section, then soil sample can be pushed into shear box directly from cutting ring by means of a dolly. Remolded specimen can be prepared by compacting soil in a large size mold and then cutting specimen to proper size. A specimen of cohesionless soil can be prepared by filling constant weight of soil directly in shear box. Following steps are followed while performing experiment. Fix the upper portion of shear box to lower portion by tightening locking screws. Put porous plates in box. Place a plan grid on porous plate, in which serrations of grid are at right angles to direction of shear. Place soil specimen in shear box. Place soil specimen shear box. In usual way, place soil specimen in shear box in usual way and put upper grid on top of soil with serrations at right angles to direction of shear. After that, put porous plate on it, and then pressure pad may be put on porous plate. Set loading yaw on top of pressure pad. Apply desired normal load after fixing dial gauge for measuring vertical movement. Apply shearing force and record reading of dial gauge of proving ring for finding amount of shear load. For a strain control test, take a set of readings. Every 15 seconds for first 2 minutes and then and then a set of readings every 0.051 centimeter of horizontal displacement. For a stress control test, take a set of readings before each new load is applied. Continue test to failure. Soil sample is assumed to have failed when dial gauge reading in proving ring starts receding after recording maximum. If no definite maximum is obtained, then failure is assumed to have occurred if shear displacement is about 15% of height of length of specimen has taken place. If shear displacement of about 15% of length of specimen has taken place. Repeat experiment on identical specimen under increasing normal loads. At least 4 or 5 normal loads must be chosen. Intensity of normal loads may vary from 0.25 kg per centimeter square to 4 kg per centimeter square. Calculations. Sometimes it becomes difficult to find out exact value of load where failure has affected. Hence, shearing force at failure can also be ascertained by drawing a graph between applied shear stress and shearing displacement. Failure shear force will be that force under which there is unlimited displacement. Shows this typical graph. Shear displacement has been plotted on abscissa and shear stress on ordinate. Once value of shear stress is failure is known under all normal loads, then another graph is plotted between normal stress and abscissa, and shear strength as ordinate. Typical graph has been shown. Graph will be straight line and value of cohesion and angle of internal friction can be formed out from graph. चलो शेयर तक हमारी बात करते हैं. ओके. Hi. Hello. Hello. Gone. Well, not getting. So what I say here, hello. Hello. Yes. Cut again. let us see. Well, let us continue. Oh yeah, what is this? Okay, let's continue. I am getting some call, but I'm not getting it. It's broken all the time. That's why I'm responding, so that people should not feel should mind it, but it's not happening that way. Okay. I'm talking to someone, chatting with. Just a minute, please. Okay, come on. People chat something. I cannot annoy them. Well, it's okay. So what we say in this that sometimes it becomes difficult to find out exact value of load where shear failure. The failure affects hence you can say hence what happens. Mm, Bearing the shearing force at failure can also be ascertained by drawing a graph between applied shearing force, shearing stress, and shearing displacement. Failure shear, failure shear, failure shearing force will be that force under which there is unlimited displacement. So this typical graph, the displacement has been plotted on abscissa and shear force on shear stress on ordinate. Once value of shear stress and failure is known under all normal loads, another graph is plotted between normal stress and abscissa and shear stress in ordinate. Typical graph has been shown figure 19.2. What's that? Yes, the graph is shown here. 19.2. Cell and the point was that actually. Let's see. 19.2, and this is say that graph will be a straight line and value of cohesion and angle of friction can be formed out from graph. So what it says then? Advantages of and disadvantages of direct shear test. Direct shear test is very simple one, and even less skilled technicians can perform. Less testing time is required. Less time is required for drainage of specimen because distance which is escaping pore water has to follow is smaller. Stress condition across soil specimen is shear force. Shear box is very complex because of change in shear area. In shear box, both with increase in shear displacement. There is an unequal distribution of shear stress. 27/97, this date of birth. 27/7/99. Oh my God. 99, 27 and 34 and 33. Mind is very hard. Very hard mind. Very hard mind. people write jokingly, Well, let's go. Sorry, I was there on chatting. I didn't want to annoy some people who are interested in chatting. So people are not asking technical questions; they are asking different questions. Well, there is an unequal distribution of shear stress over potential surface of sliding. Stress is more. Stress is more at stress is more at edges and less at their center. Stress is more at edges and less at center. This results in progressive failure of soil. Whole length of soil is not mobilized simultaneously. Uh, So, sorry again, as there is unequal distribution of shear stress and normal stress over potential surface of sliding, and so total normal load and total shear load should be divided by area of sliding surface at failure and not by total area, because at failure upper half of shear box has been displaced horizontally a few hundred of mm. that one also first of all. Just a minute please, because that's also important one. I did that. Let me do that first. Alright, so we move further. Says that says that as there is unequal distribution of shear stress and normal stress over potential surface of sliding, hence total normal load and total shear load should be divided by area of sliding surface at failure and not by total area, because at failure upper half of shear box has been displaced horizontally a few hundred of millimeter relative to lower half of box. Plane of shear failure is predetermined. Plane of shear failure is predetermined, which may not be weakest one. Water content of saturated samples of many types of soil changes rapidly due to change in stress. Water content of saturated samples of many types of soil changes rapidly due to change in stress. Embedding of ridges, embedding of ridges of metallic grids or porous plates into sample to be tested for shear causes distortion of samples to some extent. When shear force is applied to soil sample, soil compresses against sides of these ridges. Effect of lateral restraint by side walls of shear box also affects results because such restraint does not exist in actual foundation. There is little control of drainage of soil, and undrained tests can be carried out with clay soils only. It's very difficult to prevent completely escape of pore water from saturated samples of high permeability. Let's repeat these conditions. Actually, these are very important one. What it says, advantages and disadvantages of this is, again I read, it's just not clear, of direct shear test. Direct shear test is a very simple test, and even less skilled technician can perform. Less testing time required and less time is required for drainage of specimen, because distance which escaping pore water has to follow is smaller. Now, shear test has some inherited disadvantages, and these are: stress condition across soil specimen stress condition across soil specimen in shear box is very complex because of change in shear stress in shear box. With increase in shear displacement, there is an equal distribution of shear stress over potential surface of sliding. Shear stress is more at edges. There is an unequal distribution of shear stress over potential surfaces of sliding. Stress is more at edges and less at center. This results in progressive failure of soil. Whole length of soil is not mobilized simultaneously, as there is unequal distribution of shear stress and normal stress over potential surface of sliding. Hence, total normal load and total shear load should be divided by area of sliding surface at failure and not by total area, because at failure upper half of shear box has been displaced horizontally at few hundred of millimeter relative to lower half of box. Plane of shear failure is predetermined, which may not be weakest one. Water content of saturated samples of many types of soil changes rapidly due to change in stress. Embedding of ridges of metallic grids or porous plates into sample to be tested for shear causes distortion of samples to some extent. When shear force is applied to soil sample, so soil compresses against sides of these ridges. Effect of lateral restraint by side walls of shear box also affects results, because such restraint does not exist in actual foundation. There is little control on drainage of soil, and undrained tests can be carried out with clay soil only. It's very difficult to prevent completely escape of pore water from saturated samples of high permeability. Now Mohs stress circle. It means every point is loaded, at every point is loaded mass. A number of planes can pass and stress. Stress, stress components on each plane depends upon direction of plane. But there are three planes at right angles to each other, which are typical in comparison to all other planes. These three planes are called principal stresses, or principal planes, and normal stresses. Principal planes and normal stresses acting on these planes are known as principal stresses. These three planes are mutually orthogonal to each other, and on these planes, stress is normal and no shear stress acts. These planes are called major, intermediate, and minor principal planes in order of decreasing magnitude of normal stress. Corresponding normal stress, magnitude of normal stress, corresponding normal stress have been named as major principal stress. On intermediate principal stress, major principal stress delta 2 and minor principal stress delta 3. A number of problems in soil mechanics can be solved by considering two-dimensional stress conditions also. So I read again, this is important. Mohs stress circle that we are going to do is just to read this. So that every point in a loaded mass, a number of planes can pass and stress components on each plane depending upon direction of plane. But there are three planes at right angles to each other, which are typical in comparison to all other planes. Which are typical, which are each other plane, angles to each other plane, which are typical in comparison to all other planes. These three planes are called principal planes and normal stresses. Normal stresses, you can say, acting on these planes are known as principal stresses. These three planes are mutually orthogonal to each other. These three planes are mutually orthogonal to each other, and on these planes stress is normal and no shear stress acts. These planes are called major, intermediate, and minor principal stress planes, principal planes, in order of decreasing magnitude of normal stress. Corresponding normal stresses have been named as major principal stress, that is delta 1, intermediate principal stress, that's delta 2, and minor principal stress delta 3. Number of problems in soil mechanics can be solved by considering two-dimensional stress conditions also. Now this figure shows a soil element which has been subject to two-dimensional stress. A plane BC passes through element making an angle alpha with x-axis. After considering equilibrium of element, following equations for normal stress, that is delta and shearing stress on any plane, can be written. So this is here, normal stress is equal to, this is BC, here is y as x, y and x. So one stress is here, one is here. Says delta y, this is delta x, rho, and this is ty into x, this is angle alpha. So normal stress is delta is equal to delta x plus delta y, delta x plus delta y over 2 plus delta y minus delta x over 2 cos 2 alpha, that is, one is delta x and delta y, sum of these 2 over 2 plus delta y minus delta x over 2 cos 2 alpha plus this is sum of pxy and this is pxy, this is, what is that one? Shearing stress, you can say, shearing stress, that is this xy sine 2 alpha. This is equation. So shear stress is equal to, that is x, shear stress to delta y minus delta x over 2 sine 2 alpha minus xy cos 2 alpha is shear stress. So one is normal stress and one is shear stress. Again I say, this is your figure. You can see that what is this now? What is it? क्या लोग फालतू के मैसेज okay, showing this, let me show this, There's normal and shear equations here. In this, it is called shear is normal stress is delta is equal to delta x plus delta y over 2 plus delta y minus delta x over 2 cos 2 alpha plus shear xy sine 2 alpha. You can see it again. This is in clear terms here. There is normal stress as well as shear stress, two-directional stress, two-dimensional orthogonal to each other. We are talking about this for Mohr circle. So what says there is one normal stress equation and one is a shear stress equation. Normal stress is delta equal to delta 1 plus delta 2 over 2 plus delta y minus delta x over 2 cos 2 alpha plus 3 psi xy sine 2 alpha. Other one is psi is equal to delta y minus delta x over 2 sine alpha sine 2 alpha minus xy cos 2 alpha. Now delta y and delta x are normal stresses, that's delta y and delta x are normal stresses on planes perpendicular to y and x, and delta y is greater than delta x, and shear xy is equal to shear yx on these planes. So now squaring equations following, we can get delta, that is, when you square up this delta uh, minus delta y minus delta x plus delta x over 2 whole square plus delta square is equal to delta y minus delta x 2 plus y square. This is squaring equation. Both following equations can be written delta minus xy here and delta x. Okay, delta x a square minus b square, squaring both, you can say delta here and minus, let's say, well, say now equation is an equation for circle whose radius is equal to 1 under root, that is 1/2 delta y minus delta x square, a square plus b square equal to this under root this and this. Okay, the squares of this, so and under root this, and whose center has coordinate delta x plus delta y over 2 and 0. Hence, for this equation, a circle can be drawn which is known as Mohr circle of stress, and coordinates of points on circle represents normal and shearing stress on inclined planes at given point. This is delta 1 of this way, and this delta 2. So start, right? Mohr's envelope here. Delta 3 this is delta 1. So where is delta 3? This was delta 2. This is right here. Okay, let's see. It says that normal and shearing stress on plane can be expressed in terms of maximum and minimum principal stresses and angle of that plane makes with maximum principal planes. It's the delta S of delta 1 plus delta 2 over 2 plus delta 1 minus delta 3 over 2 cos 2 alpha, and T is equal to delta 1 plus delta 3 over 2 sin 2 alpha. Most circle of stresses following graphical methods can be used for drawing more circle of stresses in this diagram. This is your diagram, this is diagram here, you can see that. More circle of stresses, you can see. That's principal stress are plotted on, normal is on x-axis, and shear stress are plotted on y-axis. Layoff distance OA is equal to delta 3 and distance OB is equal to delta 1. Now draw a semicircle passing through point A and B. Diameter of delta 1 minus delta 3, this is draw a line through A, making an angle theta with horizontal axis and cutting semicircle at C. Abscissa of point C, semicircle C is here. Okay, this is C. Abscissa of point C is equal to normal stress that is says theta, or it says draw a line through A, making an angle theta with horizontal axis and cutting semicircle in point C, which is CC shear stress T. The length of line OC represents resultant stress. Abscissa of line point C is equal to normal stress, that is A, and delta, I think is delta, and ordinate of point C is shear stress. Okay, shear stress. Sorry. Now, length of line OC represents resultant stress. OC, this is resultant stress OC. And angle between OC and horizontal is obliquity angle A alpha. Obliquity angle alpha, angle theta represents orientation of any plane through a point. As angle theta is increased from 0, shearing stress increases to its maximum value, delta 1 minus delta 3 over 2 when theta is equal to 45, and then decreases to 0 when theta is equal to 90. Value of normal stress delta, it decreases from maximum value of delta 1 when theta is 0 to maximum of delta 3 when theta is equal to 90. This obliquity of resultant increases to maximum value delta L when angle theta is such that OC is tangent to semicircle. Now, more theory of failure. According to Moore's theory of failure, a material fails along plane and at time at which there exists a certain optimum combination of normal stresses and shear stress and a stressed body. This optimum combination of stress is that which produces maximum obliquity alpha m of resultant of normal and shear stress. We find that optimum stress combination which satisfies criteria stated above has been represented by point C dash. Orientation of failure plane has been represented by line AC dash, which makes an angle theta dash with maximum principal plane. Tangent line OC dash represents stress condition at failure and maximum obliquity angle alpha m equal to angle of internal friction phi. Value of obliquity angle alpha can never exceed value alpha m equal to phi, because before that failure, hence tangent line OC dash is a locus of points representing failure. This line is called Moore's envelope or line of rupture. Normal shearing and stresses below envelope represents stress situation. Which do not produce failure. No point can exist above envelope because material will fail before such combination of stresses can develop. Now, number of combinations of stress which produces failures, OD, represents Moore envelope which is locus of failure points. Circle 1 is having a combination of stresses having value OA1 and OB1. Circle 2 is having combination OA2 on AB2. And circle 3 is having a combination of stresses OA3 and BO3. OB3 and BO3, OB3, I'm sorry, OB3, yes. In case of cohesionless soils, envelope passes through origin representing applied stress, and in case of cohesive soils, envelope does not pass through origin of applied stress and intercepts gives values of cohesion as in case of columns equation. As we see that Morse envelope constitutes a shear diagram and is graph of columns equation, hence value of cohesion and angle of interactions can be determined from this envelope. This is Morse envelope. This is called Morse envelope. Morse envelope. Okay, now. The triaxial compression test. Triaxial compression test we'll do later on. That is salient features and base, and this is also means little knowledgeable. We'll do later on the triaxial compression test. So in this we have studied today is about what we have done, that we have gone through this test, that is shear test of soil, which is immediate quick and undrained test and consolidated quick test and undrained test we've gone through, and also we have seen calculations and Morse stress circle and its theory of failure and envelope. This we have gone through in this soil. I think we have to change track now because we do now what actually I think is about, that is, again I am coming back to construction. Construction, that's a favorite of engineering entertainment, I can say. If you want to really draw entertainment, you have to concentrate on construction, because construction will tell you everything about project. It shall tell you everything. There are lapses, there are no lapses. It shall teach you quality, or it shall how to impact quality. It shall teach you every procedure and how to play with procedures. That's what both are you. It's not means just I am saying you agree. We had talked yesterday about, I think yes, that these were so many class materials and list of, this material and workforce. We did that yesterday, we talked a lot. And now, you see this, that some old sites you have not seen, but I will try to show what actually notes are there. That's also very important. No, these are not. These plates which I have shown you before, but I think maybe nobody noticed. These photographs which I am showing you are very old. I think it was 1986 when I was on this project. This is a school project. The school project. There are, I think there are about how many plates are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 plates are there, which are from site. Right, these are from sites. Let's have a look on that and see what is this, first of all. Because from records only, we can learn something if you have not noted down. It's very old, 1986, means about 20 or 34 years back. So this is one photograph. There was only photographs, camera taken photographs, not mobile taken. So this is a site. What happened to that? Why is coming up? What nonsense you have, why? Why you are coming up? Unnecessary something came down. You know, this is here. You can see that this is a photograph. And what actually does it say? You have to see this, what's written there. And what is written there, maybe you cannot see directly. I will speak it now. First you have a look on photograph. What it says, and I'll show you again. Hold on, the book is just reversing and say. So this is that photograph, this is one. Black and white, 1986. This is this is 1986. Mid, I think, hot season. And Doha, Qatar, this is. I was site agent for this project. This was about 14 million reals project. That time quite considered big, and this having about 6,000 cubic meter of RCC. So this is the photograph number one, and what it says. Now we have seen that. It says, I have written this myself. Now it says, preparatory formwork for suspended floor slab in progress. Because one slab is in progress. Columns pour up to beam soffit level approximately a few centimeters below. And then centering and formwork material lying around that. And one slab ready for pouring and being given final touch. Concrete mobile pump taking position. There's a concrete mobile pump as well at that time. It's taking position, or you can say station, and by adjusting pump boom and its own body to cover maximum area of proposed pour without shifting pumping station, if possible but not necessary. Rock breaker, a machine that means a jackhammer type, big jackhammer, whereas it's called, if replace excavator bucket by hammer, and that's called rock breaker. Rock breaker machine is excavating rock area because this site was rock. Rock breaker machine is excavating rock area. Claustra blocks screen, you can say claustra block. This is a term I can say. Name is claustra block. There's no technology in that, just name, and that's called claustra block machine. I mean, this claustra block screen wall is visible. Okay, that's something else, means is visible in substation building. There's a substation behind there, and it's seen in this. So we say that substation building is seen, and that it's in view. Form of capping beam of boundary wall is ready for construction. On the end of that, if you see, form is gone, it's in there. Form of capping beam of boundary wall is ready for construction, and water filled drums can be seen on floor near proposed pour. Steel reinforcement for connection to all steel beams have been left in form of dowels, and bitumen painted surfaces clearly visible in view. Surface of ground floor already poured is visible in view. Scabbled joints for beams have been graphed in view. This is an observation of this site. You might have seen there's a big columns, not small columns, and these columns are all over these were in those days designed based on working stress method. It's a very good design, in fact, very comfortable one. You did not find any problem while executing that one. No problem how to vibrate is not entering, or no problem of pouring. Mobile concrete pump, and you can see the sail. You can see that, but you can see concrete pump is there. Other, I think, truck is there, I think, and you can see certain planter beds there, and preparation work is there, and that's how you can say. I just, it's now concrete pump mobile that is receiving ready-mix concrete from from transit concrete truck is a 6 cubic meter capacity, and pump by reciprocating action pushes mix to pouring place through boom as graphed in wheel. Level surface of pour and compacted concrete is visible too, and planter beds to contain sweet soil have been grafted in view. Form material after being stuck lying astray in view. Boom of rock breaker machine is being seen. And similarly, there's another one. Let's see, again, pole by, I think. It's not pole. Alright, it's a hot humidity is some problem. I'm showing you directly slab top. Where I was why this falling all time this unnecessarily? I think because of what has happened. Gone? Where's gone? It's broken. Why? It's gone. It's gone. This is gone. Why gone?